Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, grab a seat. Guess what? Just days after the Hollywood Reporter reported that Ezra Miller was not happy with Daly and Goldstein's take on the Flash movie, and he and Grant Morrison were going to write their own story. Guess what? Let me read this to you. Universal nabs the Creeps horror pitch from Spider-Man Homecoming scribes Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly. Very, very interesting. How convenient. Now, nothing's known, and I don't really want to talk about this film. I'm not interested in this film. We're interested in the DCEU. But again, my friends, I want you to think about this very carefully. Only days ago, the Hollywood Reporter, the mouthpiece for Warner Brothers, the mouthpiece for the DCEU, when they report something, it mostly happens, right? So days after they reported that Ezra Miller was going off to do his own story for the Flash movie, right, with Grant Morrison, comic book legend Grant Morrison, how awesome is that, right? These two guys who have actually been writing the story and were set to, I think, direct this movie as well, basically, they're gone. Who's won? Look, basically, this tells you one thing. Because let me tell you what's interesting. Because they've been with Warner Brothers for quite a while now, right? And all of a sudden, Universal it wants to make a film with them, which probably means they're going to sign a first picture deal with Universal, never work with Warner Brothers again, because obviously they're not going to be happy, are they? Because Ezra Miller, an actor, has gone off with a comic book legend because he wasn't happy with their take. And literally Warner Brothers, because Ezra Miller, as I told you before, and I know these things, you should listen to me, Ezra Miller is Warner Brothers' chosen one. He's literally Anakin Skywalker, although let's hope he doesn't end up like Anakin Skywalker. But the point is, he is the chosen one. This guy is completely pissed off with what's been going on with the last couple of films he's done, Justice League, Fantastic Beasts, and the Crimes of Grindelwald, which I will be reviewing hopefully by the end of the week, and I've got a lot to say about that film as well. But the point is, I think they didn't want to lose him. He's a really, really good actor, and they've got some serious plans for him, not just within the DCEU, but doing some really good films that could eventually win him an Oscar. I'm talking, this lad is a really, really big deal, and they do not want to lose him to another company, and they certainly don't want to see him ending up in an MCU film or something silly like that. So he wasn't happy, but I think he was right to question what Daly and Goldstein were doing. Because basically, let me tell you this. I mean, look, we knew that this was being compared to a Back to the Future movie. Now, don't get me wrong, that sounded really entertaining and fun, but I've spoken to a lot of people, and they did tell me it was literally like watching a sitcom. And this is why Ezra Miller didn't like it. Now, you remember in an interview when he said, this film will not get done unless it's the best love letter to the fans. Now, when I saw that interview, I thought, it's bullshit. He's bullshitting. Typical Hollywood, actor, just trying to, curry favour with us lot. I thought he was just being fake. I thought it was good bullshit. Don't get me wrong. I love Ezra Miller. But I thought it was a normal kind of blarney that you get. Little did I know, this guy actually bloody well meant it. And he actually is really passionate about this project, about this character. And he really wants it done properly. And as I said in my video when I talked about when this news broke the other day, and I said we should be really happy that we've got someone like Ezra Miller. No one should be complaining. No DCEU fan should be complaining that, we've got an actor who wants a more serious, more darker story. And just because you get a darker story doesn't mean you can't have balance. It doesn't mean you can't have gags. It will have gags. I think, as I said, and having seen Shazam, I think this is what the DCEU can now do. What they've done, they've broken the mold. They've done something really not even the MCU have been able to do, is take a superhero film, make it funny, make it serious, make it dark, put those tones together and make one super movie. Now, if they can do that with that, they can certainly do it with a Flash movie. So let's just say Daly and Goldstein are out, which it looks like, and Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison's script gets adapted to a movie. Now, the reason there was kind of a race against time here is because Warner Brothers were going to choose one take or the other because they want to start filming in November. They don't want to mess about. They've actually put Fantastic Beasts 3 on hold. So Ezra's available to do this, right? So they want to get this out. And there's kind of rumours that Ezra's kind of contract with Warner Brothers or whatever it is with the DCEU is up in May. Some people say it's November. Who knows? I think maybe that kind of contract expiration, I'll forget it anyway. You know what I mean, right? I think that's just media BS. But I think the real race against time is that Warner Brothers want to get this film going. They're serious about developing a Flash movie. But the reason that Ezra and Grant Morrison were allowed to go off and do their own thing, because I think even Warner Brothers looked at that and said, you know what? This is more sitcom than the MCU. And the kind of script that I was hearing it was very entertaining. There was some great elements of the Flash in it, but it wasn't really what these people want to go with. You know, the New Line Cinema boys and girls, of course, Walter Hamada. That team really wants to mix the tones together and wants to give people. They want to make They want to make something for everyone rather than kind of pleasing people who want a light, funny tone or pleasing people who want completely kind of Zack Snyder type movies. They want to intermingle and say, do you know what? Let's do something that everybody likes. Now, there's an old saying, you can't please everybody. But my motto is the moment you stop trying to please everyone is the moment you should get out of this industry. So I applaud Warner Brothers. I hope this is the case. But who is going to direct this film? Well, it's an easy answer, isn't it? You know what I'm going to say. Zack Snyder. Unfortunately, he's a really divisive director for a lot of people. Now, I assume if you're watching this video, you're a DCEU fan, and most of you anyway, and it might be one or two are just watching it because you're looking for kicks on a what is it, Wednesday morning, right? But basically, it's Wednesday, isn't it? I can't even remember anymore. I'm losing my days. But anyway, right? So why would I pick Zack Snyder as a director of the Flash movie? Well, he knows Ezra. Ezra likes him quite clearly. He cast Ezra. He could make a really good movie. And the great thing about this movie is Zack's not going to have any say on kind of really the tone or the story. He's going to come in to do his fantastic visuals, use his fantastic eye, and make a really, really good film. Of course, if he does get this film, I mean, I don't think he will get this film, by the way, but I think he can make a really, really awesome Flash movie. I would certainly be up for it. But we know once Zack Snyder is attached to any film, especially a DCEU film, the a-holes are going to come out and start being negative. But at the end of the day, I think if he's not responsible for the story and he's only responsible for what the film's going to look like, I think everyone, all fans around the world who love movies and love superheroes will agree that his movies look amazing. And in terms of his responsibility, if he was tapped to do this movie, because Ezra Miller and, Grant Morrison are in charge of the story and the screenplay, that's nothing to do with Zack. He can't get involved with that. If he's given that remit and he can just direct a good, let us see an awesome vision of the Flash, I would be down for that. So that would be very interesting. Now, I don't think he'll get it, but I think he's probably got more chance than he had a few months back, because if Goldstein and Daly have gone, because literally these are writers and directors, they need to bring someone in. Grant Morrison ain't directing this movie, and Ezra Miller, I mean, that would be outrageous, wouldn't it, if Ezra directed this film as well? But that's not going to happen. So they need to bring someone in. So who do you bring in? So that's very, very, very interesting what they do. So I'm really, really excited about these developments. On The Flash. I was shocked the other day when I heard that Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison were going to kind of go off and do their own thing. I think that shows total faith in the actor. But with the actor, as I said the other day, getting up and saying, do you know what? I could just take my check. I could just take my money, make this load of crap, and, plug it to the fans and not care. But this guy said, no. I want to give the fans something special. So I'm going to take a comic book legend. We're going to go off and write a movie. So we were told that Warner Brothers were going to see this script this week. So clearly they've already seen it, because if this was, listen, Daly and Goldstein will not be going, is that their names? Anyway, yeah, I've said it a billion times enough. Daly and Goldstein, right? Anyway, I'm terrible this morning, very hungover. But anyway, right, Daly and Goldstein, let's look at the evidence one more time before we close this off, right? They've got this idea for a film that they'd be writing and directing. Now, you would think this would have been a Warner Brothers movie if In the Garden was Rosie, but no, Universal, which means they've fallen out with Warner Brothers because they're backing Ezra Miller. So you can take it as read that Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison's film is going ahead, that their script was okay and approved. And that is very interesting, because that says to actors who are passionate and want to give the fans something, you know, that Warner Brothers are open to listen to all artists and all creators. And that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. But it's an even bigger, more beautiful thing if you're a DCEU fan. So I will see you tomorrow. And by the way, not DCEU, because the Joker is part of the Black Label, but we'll talk about it anyway. A Joker trailer is coming very soon. And when it does, I'll be reacting on it here on Big Mouth. And I can't wait to do that, because I'm really looking forward to that Joker movie as well. So I shall see you next time.